Hier ist die Fahrerin für unser Elite Raymond im Ziel. Come on, alle Hände zusammen. Franka Rudolf! Totalzeit von 1 Stunde 8 Minuten Racing für Franka Rudolf. Und nach der Franka die Irene Savelli. Irene Savelli übernimmt die neue Führung vor der Franka. Nach der Franka die Lili Busche, dann die Lili und dann Irina Tüttensberger. Lili Busche is our new leader. Lili Busche. Wir sind die 20. Platz oben. Wir sind Günzberg an diesem Ziel angekommen. Yes, last jump! We have a new leader! Bibi! Und ganz hinterhin kommt Melina Damestua. Melina Damestua übernimmt die Führung. Lili Blankart, Claire. That's good. Simon Evans in the lead. 15:45 ist sie oben drauf gestartet. Jetzt ein bisschen Pause bis 15:55 nochmal aufgrund der TV-Übertragung. Und ganz speziell Top Frauen, Top Männer starten in der umgekehrten Rangliste-Reihenfolge von den bisherigen 7 Stages. Das heisst, der schnellste und die schnellste nach 7 Stages starten am Schluss. Also, dass wir wirklich erst ganz am Schluss wissen, wer der oder die Gewinner ist von dem UCI Enduro World Cup hier in der Aletsch Arena Belmalt.
in Aletsch Arena Belwall for round 5 of the UCI Enduro World Cup, where riders carve their way through the Swiss mountains with breathtaking views overlooking the Great Aletsch Glacier, the largest and the longest in the Alps. Across 8 stages and more than 6,000 metres of descending, riders face 2 days of some of the most spectacular single track this sport has to offer.
The racing here is super physical. We have such an array of stages that are super long, super chunky. Some are incredibly steep.
I think I am second behind the Hela. It's close, I think. It's not so far at the first place.
I just have to go flat out everywhere to hold off Melanie. Like, no pacing, just attack everywhere.
The goal is just to have a kind of revenge from last year.
The penultimate race.
Anything could happen. It's all to play for.
Mit der Startzeit gibt es natürlich mal einen kurzen Unterbruch. Startzeit, wie gesagt, von der Top, Ladies and Men, in ungefähr.
So hello and welcome to Aletsch Arena. Hello and welcome to the Woot Mountain Bike World Series Enduro Stage 1 highlights. My name is Matt Payne. I'm here with the one and only man on a mission to bring Enduro to the mainstream, Elliot Heap. Elliot, Stage 1 here. 2 days of great racing, 2 great days of great action. Give us a roundup of Stage 1.
So stage 1, Matt, it's at such high altitude, the riders are up against it, and as you can see from this helmet cam we're watching from Leif Rogers, there is no place on the entire track where you can race. It's just rocks, stuff to catch your pedals on, and the chances of getting to the bottom without a puncture is second to none. It's crazy.
And the action here, as we see, third on stage, second on stage. The first stage here really sort of set that foundation with Ella Conley coming down, taking the lead on stage 1, doing a fantastic job. The way that it's ridden and it's developed in the stages, Aletsch Arena and the glacier and this whole mountainside, it's known to the riders from the World Championships, but it really does test everything that the riders got in what is great weather.
Yeah, it's an absolute phenomenal place. As you can see from the results, these guys have been absolutely hauling. In the men's class, it's so tight so far. And in the women's class, Ella's pulled a 15.5 second gap over second place in Nadine Ella Costa going into the second stage of day 1.
And the way these stages play out between stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1, it's 2.7k long. Stage 2, 2.9k long. Similar amount of descent, a little bit less on stage 2 though. What's the feel like actually on these stages? What's it feel like to ride?
So stage 1 is an absolute brute. It's so intense, it's so physical. And then stage 2, it's a little bit lower down the mountain. And as you can see, we've got a lot more dirt, a lot more trees. We're into that more alpine feel. So usually the tyres have a little bit more grip on that kind of dirt. But it's a full body workout. The heart rate's going to be at least 180 the whole entire way down, which is absolutely crazy.
And Hoskins coming down, putting in a great time in the women's. In terms of the men, no surprises to see Lukovic looking good on the course, but the Yeti Fox team really shown that they've got this course dialed.
Yeah, they've had a couple of off races, the past couple of races, but it's nice to see the Yeti Fox team back at the top.
So the women's elite at the end of stage 2, Ellie Hoskins going through in taking the stage win, with Ella Conley's lead still holding at 15.235 seconds from Hoskin, and Ella Costa in third place. The top 9 riders still within 1 minute of that lead of Connolly as we came from stage 2. In terms of the men's results on stage, it was a 1, 2, 3 for Gilchrist, Luksic and Fisher, who came through within 1.5 seconds of each other. The top 10 riders, though, you can see that time gap, 5.183 of a second. That is nothing out on course. Super tight racing on stage 2 as they came in through, and the way that then affects the overall, it does mean that we are going to see a very tight battle. The overall, Lukasik leading from Gilchrist with Daly in third. 16 seconds, the top 10 here. Is that what you were expecting coming out of stage 2?
I mean, the elite men's field has been so tight all year long, and you could say the same for the women's as well. This has been the first time where Ella's really stretched the legs out front. The tracks are completely different to what we've had most of the season, and as you can see from this footage, it's just brutal. Like, we're having punches, we're having big crashes, we're having big mechanicals, anything can happen, and I think that's showing in the results, Matt.
And when we come to the men's competition, big news from day one was that we saw our series leader out, the back wheel apart, and then he didn't go through the correct procedure in terms of replacing that wheel and going into the tech zones.
Yeah, so unfortunately Alex Rideau, he's been leading the series most of the year, to be honest, and yeah, unfortunately did suffer a mechanical on stage 1 and just didn't follow that procedure that's in the rule book. So unfortunately got straight disqualified rather than being able to carry on his race. So that's going to be a massive shake-up in the standings after round 5 here in Aletsch.
And Ellie Hoskins, in terms of the women on the stage, starting to really push up on this Glaciara stage. It overlooks the big Aletsch glacier that really sort of sums up this arena. You can see it here, the longest, it's the biggest, it's a beast, and that Glaciara stage, because we start up at the top, really I think framed by that. Hoskins taking away the win on stage in the course that she set that course alight for the World Championships, where she took a win last year, ahead of Conley, who lost a little bit more time, Pugan losing time as well. And the time on stage, top 10 separated by 42 seconds. In the women. In the men's, well, you can see Wall 12 seconds back, but Giambi looking like he's really sort of found the confidence and the flow after getting that first win in the last round.
Yeah, Giambi had a really big crash on stage 2, so he kind of lost all his time there. He broke his dropper switch, so he couldn't use his seat post, so his seat post was slammed for the rest of day 1 after stage 2. So I think he's just riding completely flat out. He's got nothing to lose, and I think he's just carrying, like you say, that confidence, that momentum into the race in here this weekend.
And losing the dropper pin, so although lots of people will be Uber fans and know every tyre tread pattern and every bit of spec on everybody's bike, dropper pin drops down, press of a button, you can release it back up again. It allows you to get the seat out of the way and to really ride. But when you're doing the transitions from one time stage to another, then that's going to make life hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, so obviously when you've got your seat up, like a road cyclist, for example, you always see the seat at that optimal height where your legs can be as efficient as possible, and not being able to do that in a massive race like we have this weekend after already doing 2 days of practice. The legs are already tired. You don't need any reason to make them even worse. So yeah, the dropper being broken is a nightmare, that's for sure.
Yeah, revolutionary in terms of riding and in terms of performance, getting the dropper pin, but when the dropper pin doesn't work, then it really does have a disadvantage. But that disadvantage is performance rather than necessarily the handling of the bike on the descent. So at the end of stage 4, you can see it was Lukasik who came out on top with Bottom and Fisher behind. In terms of the women, Conley back on top, and a massive time gap opened up by Conley on stage 4. That last stage on day 1 over Hoskins, really, that is a big time gap to carry through, isn't it?
Yeah, so I can imagine that Ella Connolly slept quite well after yesterday with the time gap that she had coming into today. That's for certain. A big safety blanket, so even if she does have a puncture, there's still a good chance that she can still be leading.
So in terms of the end of the first day, we came in there with Conley leading in the women. We've had stages already today because we are coming in for the final stage here, and because we're coming in for stage 8, we've had that racing up till now. So the preceding 3 stages 5, 6 and 7. So to sum up where we're at coming into this, in terms of the women, Ella Conley leading 35 seconds. That gap's gone out to Hoskins at the end of stage 7, with Pugan at 47 seconds. They're pretty big time gaps between those riders in the top 3.
Yeah, another P4 seconds up on Melanie Pujan, who's in second. Ellie Hoskins just jumped up to second. Oh, here she is.
Stage, and how are you managing with your big lead?
Yeah, I was a little worried because I actually went off course in the middle of the track just before I climbed. So I had to like hike my bike back up, get back on and pedal up the climb rather than carrying any speed into it. So after that, I was just trying to like be calm, you know, be sensible rather than try and make up the time. And apparently that worked. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Now you have a big liaison ahead and then 3 more stages. How are you tackling those?
Just going to try flow the next one. Like it's so long. So much like flowing kind of bike path trail that's super rocky as well. So I'm just going to try carry some speed on that because I think you could cook yourself there. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, great to hear from Ella Conley. The course here all laid out along the side of the mountains. Day 1, stage 1, the Alpine Rodeo, where you've seen that action. Give us a run through, just give us a few words of feel about what these stages feel like, Elliot, to ride.
Well, so they're so raw and open to the elements, Matt. You feel like you're constantly on a knife edge. Like any second, your bike can go sideways, you can tuck the front, and you can go from having a really good run and everything going really well, you can puncture, crash, all within the blink of an eye. So you never feel completely confident riding on this type of terrain.
And then we move from stage 1 where we go across into stage 2, a different set of trails, different set of tracks. The first stage on day 2, taking the riders straight back down, pretty much into town, and then a big transfer out to go across here, across onto our next stage. Our last stage comes down and finishes right in the arena though.
Yeah, so it's really cool that we've got the last stage, stage 8, finishing right in the centre of town. So all the fans are there. We've got a big arena set up for the riders to come into, and the atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric.
So the last stage back to the routes, bringing the riders back down into our arena. 2.5 kilometres in length, although there's 6 metres of ascent, there's 297 metres of descent. Elliot, take us through this run.
And I'm going straight. So here's me talking over me, so I'll let Elliot take it away on the bike. Oh my gosh, this is fast. I can guarantee a couple of flat tyres down this one. I'm just cruising and I'm already going faster than what I want to be. So God knows how fast the races are going to be going. Oh my gosh! It's crazy. Oh, it's so loose. Oh, I've gone wide there. Don't know if that's right or wrong or what, but we went there. Okay. Oh my God, this is chunky. Oh my God, crazy inside. Okay, little gap there. Okay, so this gets steep. Whoa, big turn, big stoppy. Oh, we've gone full inside. Another big stoppy. Oh, we've held it. Whoa. And we had down, drop. Okay, and into the finish.
You sounded like somewhere along the lines you were having fun there, Elliot. And for anybody that doesn't know, Elliot, you were riding at the Verito recently and still ride absolutely on the edge. I've seen some great videos of you out on Gauls crowds. When you find it tough and you're finding it absolutely right on the edge, it's properly on the edge.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to race professionally in this series for 5 years, and I recently stopped 2 years ago, so still pretty fresh into the in the industry. And yeah, I used to race a lot of these riders, and honest to God, following them in practice is so hard. Like, they're riding these stages completely blind for the first time in practice. They get one practice run and then it's straight into racing. Like, how do they learn all these stages, and then how do they attack them at like 100% and give it absolutely everything? I just don't know how they do it nowadays.
The game moves on so fast, doesn't it? We're seeing that with bikes, we're seeing that with equipment, we're seeing that with just the rider's attitude, and it keeps on pushing up time and time again. Let's drop in with our riders who are about to take to the race route. We're going to run down. So the way that this works, the last 15 women will start from the top of the hill, making the way down to the finish in reverse order that they're in the overall standings. So we're about to get our riders setting off. We'll watch our first rider as far as we can, all the way, in theory, right down to the finish. And then the plan is we're going to jump back up for every rider after, until we get to our overall leader coming into this stage, coming down last. Now, this is going to be absolutely key, making sure these riders get this dialed. The start is critical, isn't it? Building momentum.
Yeah, so this start section, Matt, it's so fast and it's so wide. So there's so many different line choices, so many decisions that the rider has to make. And after a full 2 days of racing, it all comes down to this. So that there's going to be so many are going to want to give this one the absolute beans coming into that finish line.
So we'll see what time is set by the riders of Italy, the rider in race at the moment out on the course. As we see the riders kick off from here, we've got to remember you've got that accumulation of 7 stages prior to this as well. It's not like the riders are going into this fresh, so it's not like you just go out and you just nail this one run. You've done all that practice, and then you've got the 7 stages, plus any adrenaline caused by issues with the bike, with crashes, having to go back up the hill as well, all that affecting, you know, how well you can perform.
Yeah, so obviously with 2 days of practice, I can vouch for them myself, because I'm so physical. Like, I'm going to sleep after 2 days of practice and I'm so tired, and then I've got to get up and all I have to do is interview the riders at the end of the stages. And I can't believe that they're going doing it again. And like you say, coming into this stage, the final stage, there's a lot of pressure and it's a physical one. It's not easy. We've got at least a minute and a half of just pure sprinting at the start before they drop into some of the most technical bits of riding we've seen all day.
And that is part of the challenge, isn't it, in terms of actually seeing what's going on in Enduros, actually getting to all the parts of the stage. You've been down the stage itself, you've seen the race route, you've seen where the riders are going to be pushing, where they're not, but covering that as a show to get out to people live is really difficult, obviously, because of the amount of cameras you would need on such a long run. It's not a downhill run where it's just one race route. We've got 8 stages over 2 days, and this final stage will be critical.
Yeah, it's so hard to try and show people without having helicopters on every stage just what the riders are going through. And even my helmet cam footage and the course previews, they flatten the trails out so much. Like, you can be sat at home thinking, oh yeah, I can do that, or, you know, I watch it myself back sometimes and I think, God, I was going slow there. But when you're in the moment and you're riding rocks the size of fridge freezers, it is absolutely mental to try and justify how they can go so fast after a full 3 days on the bicycle.
And you know these riders really well. You're there talking to them all the way through the round so far. We're on round 5 of 6 rounds. Is there anybody who's really sort of impressed you so far this season, who we're going to be seeing? Who's really come on this season that maybe people don't know about, maybe one of the less established names?
So I think for me personally, Matt, obviously I was racing in 2023. That was my last season. As we're just looking at Martinet here coming into the really rocky section of stage 8. But someone personally that's surprised me is Leif Rogers. He's only been racing for the past 2 years, as far as I'm aware, and currently, after this round, there's potential for him to be leading the overall series. He's quite a quiet fella. He keeps himself to himself, but his riding does all the talking.
Well, let's see how Martinet goes with that. Great riding down that rocky section, really tough. Picking the line here after only having done it once. That's a real skill in itself, and she's looking good on the way down here. Still looking pretty fluid on the bike on the way round here. Keeping on, watching where she's going. You can just see this section's super steep.
Yeah, so her posture looks really good. She's not soaked up into the bike. She's still got her elbows up. She's still looking quite aggressive. She's pumping all the backsides, and she seems to be carrying really good speed after a full days of racing.
And in terms of that position that she's holding. She came out of day one in 10th place. She'll want to get that top 10 position. She'll want to move up on this stage. The current fastest time down actually in the finish is currently going to be a 5-minute 44.151 from Zana Evans. That's the time to beat, but we're going to see if that's going to hold, because of course we've got 15 riders coming down race route as we speak, so they're going to be setting off at 1-minute intervals on the way down, and the time to beat that of Zana Evans. When you come down into the Aletsch Arena, you've got the big screen. Yes, we've got DJs out on course, because this is enduro. This is not, you know, road cycling where you've just got a few fans dancing a beat to dance on the side of the course. You know, we've got the full-on DJ going there. You know, you've got that big atmosphere down in the arena. Do you know as a rider when you're racing that you're coming into that arena?
Yeah, you can tell you're coming into the arena about 100 metres before you even get there, Matt. There'll be chainsaws, there'll be fans screaming, and you can hear the roar of the crowd. And often you can hear the person that's 30 seconds in front of you on the whistles, so you've got to try your best to side the track, just egg you on so much. I mean, there's nothing better than the confidence you get from the fans at the side of the track as you're racing down.
And that's what we see, isn't it, when we course? And they can be really ardent mountain bikers who are watching absolutely everything they can, gobbling up every minute of the feed on Instagram and media content. But it's not just those people who are there regularly. It's also people from the local area, maybe local kids and mountain bikers who are not...
Yeah, I mean, obviously I live in a little town now in the Scottish borders, and for me to have a world championship on my doorstep as a kid, oh my, coming past my front door, and here we are, coming into the final section, Matt. She's sprinting in, she's got the saddle up, she'll drop the seat now going into these last steep turns, probably the most technical part of the whole stage.
So just coming in, just dropping in around that right-hand turn, just see counterbalancing the bike, making sure she's got grip set up for the turn. Pop that back wheel out round once again, just trying to keep the control. The drop-off had taken not too quickly to go too far down that slope and lose grip. Nicely round the right-hand turn, going to come into the finish. This sprint is going to be critical here. The time here of Evans is looking more and more secure, I think, here at the moment. Martinet's not going to challenge, so just going to double-check on those timings as we see Sylvia Penso make her way down. Martinet going into second place, 5 seconds down there on Evans, as we see Penso out on course.
Yeah, not the best result for Martinet on the last stage, letting that time drop, but Evans must have put in an absolute stormer to bring herself back into that top 15 position.
And Sylvia Penso now part way down the course, just coming down into our arena here. The clock is ticking, 57:22 the time on the clock. Evans' time is secure. She's just about to go through past Martinet. Is she going to make it? She is. So Penso's going to drop into second place, but 4.6 seconds down on the leader. That shows just how quick our race leader is.
So Zana Evans currently leading the overall after stage 8 so far. It's looking good for Zana. She must have put a really good time in before this final stage.
So let's see how Evans' time holds as our next challenger comes down. Claire Chabet on her way in towards the finish, making her way down in. She started the day a lot further back. She's got to move herself up on the standings, but can she break into the top 10? She goes in over the line, and Chabet takes away what is going to be a #1 timer by 1.8 seconds, so that time of Evans not insurmountable.
Laura Simone now on track, Matt, and she's looking good. She's navigating around these trees and these rocks with ease, looking really confident on the bike, carrying good speed. I think the drone's struggling to keep up with her, actually. He's nearly hitting the trees, look.
It's a skill in itself to dodge through the trees with that drone. They've got a pilot here, but let's drop down, lower down onto the course here with Simonin as she comes down into the turns here. The clock at the moment, 56, 39, 56, 40. It's ticking away at the moment.
Oh, them corners are so technical, Matt. They're so off camber, and to try and get these mountain bikes to go around such a tight turn while the trail's dropping away from you like that, sometimes it can take 2 or 3 hops with the back wheel, and here she comes now into the finish.
So Simonin just making her way in there. 0.459 down on time, so lots of times packing in at the moment.
Yeah, only 0.4 back on the stage, which is a great result for Laura so far.
So a little bit of a foot out there, just taking a tighter line into that, and that then affects your line out, doesn't it?
Yeah, that affects your whole speed now into the finish. As you can see, we've got this awkward wall drop section and then into that little North Shore drop. And then going round on the tarmac. These riders don't race on tarmac, so this is another feature that could play a massive part into this final stage. The last right-hander.
And then we have our new leader just coming in there. Lucille Metz coming through to take a fastest time, 2.420 ahead of Shabby and 2.879 ahead of Simonin. As we see Geza Rogers of Canada now coming down the upper section.
Yeah, this is so raw. It's like a riverbed out there. It's absolutely crazy. And here she is through the monster section now at the bottom into these off-camber turns. Carrying great speed, she's managed to hold the high line now, coming into these awkward drops. I wonder where Geza's going to come through the finish. Lucille is now 13.7 seconds ahead of Evans in the overall after all 8 stages. Where's Geza going to come through?
I think this is going to be dropping into second position by the look of that time. Just waiting to get that confirmed. In fact, just drops a little bit further back still here in terms of the overall here. So losing a little bit of time just into the end of the stage there. So Rogers' time a 5:43.158 on stage. So we're watching now, next rider down on course, and you can see the speed through with that drone. It does give you an idea of what the rider's viewpoint is, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a third-person view, like a video game, watching them bounce the way through these bicycles. And I can tell you now, it's definitely as raw and as real as it's going to get. Coming into these final turns again, the bike trying to jackknife like a HGV lorry coming into that final right-hander.
And just keeping on the pedals there, just coming round that left-hand turn there, just trying to carry as much speed as she can. Off the drop-off, down off that little wall, down onto the banking. He makes her way down into the turn. This is going to be critical. Every pedal stroke counting, can't carry too much speed. She doesn't want to miss the landing. Rider's coming really tight on the right-hand edge of the ramp down in there as we see our next rider out on course already. So we're in with Viktorova of Czechia, just making her way down this upper section.
So it looks like Bloschberger's now leading the overall by 54.6 seconds over Lucille. Oh my, that's a massive time coming into the finish, and I don't know if there's going to be anyone that's going to come close over the next few riders, Matt.
It's a good time, isn't it? It's nearly a second clear in front. We're going to see if anybody can pull that back, but we still got the fastest riders to come, but no big upsets, no major time losses in the riders that we've seen. We're not seeing people coming down losing 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and we know the time gaps are big further back.
Yeah, as we get closer to the top spot, it's heating up a little bit between these next 10 riders, and yeah, apart from Ella Connolly, there isn't much time between these lot.
So on course with Morgan Char at the moment from France, dropping down the overall time. Absolutely critical. These riders have the lead in theory coming in. Can they hold the lead over the people who finished in front of them on the stage? It's all about staying in front. It's staying in front on time. Currently up on the last rider in as they come down this drop. Viktorova at the moment leading the overall as we see Morgan Shah dropping down in towards our race finish here. Can she hold that overall lead? It's going to go out here as we see her go into second place at the moment overall. They're still losing a little bit of time. It's not going to be enough to push her, I think, into third place at the moment. But next rider already out on course. George Swift on to the top of the course here for New Zealand.
Yeah, George has been riding so well. She's on a mullet setup now. That means she's got a 29-inch wheel on the front and a 27.5-inch wheel on the back, which just gives that bike a little bit more manoeuvrability on the stages. And she's on that brand new Yeti bike, which is looks absolutely phenomenal, Matt, in that colour scheme.
Just hear that free hub whirring its way down there up on those upper slopes, something you won't hear down into the arena. A little bit of a slide out there on that cambered section. Foot out here, all losing speed though, losing momentum.
I don't think she's lost too much coming into these final turns now. What is the time going to say coming through the finish?
It's 53.52. She's in the green at the moment. Just got this drop down into the arena. She comes through the timing into the arena. And that is a huge time gap coming in. So in terms of that stage result, that is going to be a very quick time there coming down in. But the question is going to be, what can she do? Where will she finish up as our fastest riders are still to come? Next down, Nadine Elacosta, our next rider down onto course. Started the weekend sitting in 6th place overall in the series standings. Pops away down into the arena, made up some time on the way down, and at the moment I think he's going to come well into the lead overall. Just waiting for the screens to update. Yep, leading at the moment, and by 1 minute 23 in the overall now.
Yeah, Nadine's posted an amazing time on that last stage, Matt. 14.3 seconds up over Viktorova. That's absolutely crazy. This stage isn't too long, and at the end of the day, it's surprising how much energy and how much she's had to put into that stage to bring home that time. We're just watching Melanie Pujan now coming in, sprinting into the finish. This is the bit that counts the most. The last part of the track, coming into the final stage of the day.
And Pujan needs a good time. She wants a good result here. She's the nearest challenger to Ella Connolly coming into this World Cup. Mistake on the way in there. Real stall there, Elliot.
Yeah, Melanie's so good at this technical stuff. I don't think she'll let any of this knock her confidence, and she'll carry some amazing speed through this last finish section.
So coming into the finish, still up on overall time. Coming into the finish, it's going to be about that overall time as she comes and rolls down in through. She's going to come through, and at the moment, I think that is going to be the time to beat as our world champion, Ellie Hoskin, on terrain that she knows well. She took a world title here last year. What is she going to be able to do today? Can she put in a big time gap back in to Conley on this stage to push herself back up to get maximum points here? She's the nearest challenger to Conley on today's race over the course of this weekend. Round 5 of the Whooper UCI Mountain Bike Series, the Enduro Series, is coming to a conclusion. Here she comes into the arena now.
She's already at the finish, Matt, and we'll see what time Ellie Hoskin posts coming through the finish. And it sounds like she's gone into the lead, which is absolutely crazy. So Ellie Hoskin has never lost a race here in Aletsch Arena, Belwald. And here we have the current leader, Ella Connolly, setting off on the final stage of the day. She's got a big lead, but it might not all go to plan on this last stage.
It's all about getting this home, isn't it? It's hers to lose at the moment. Big time gap coming into this last stage of the race. She's got the lead of the World Cup overall. She wants to take that away, so it's no mistakes, it's no big errors here for Connolly. But this is what she does well, gets the lead and then protects it. We see that from her. She just seems to be really good at just putting down just ride after ride that is just absolutely, it's on the money, but it's no risk.
Yeah, she's got a wise head on them young shoulders, and the UK national champ, she knows what she's doing. She's been in this series for years. She's been racing from a very young age, and you can just see the experience showing off for Ella here.
So Conley comes through. She's going to come through with what I think is going to be the fastest time by some margin as she comes through. Ella Conley comes down. You can see congratulated immediately there by Hoskins. You can see everybody knows that she is putting a ride here over the last 2 days. She's going to take away the win, but overall by 33.550 seconds at the end of all that racing. She's 47 seconds ahead of third place Ella Costa, 50 seconds ahead of Pujan in fourth, and 2 minutes 10 seconds ahead of Swift in fifth place. Conley did the business here today. Elliot, you've interviewed her so many times. What's running through her head right now? What's she thinking? Is that just job done, or is it just sheer elation?
I think sheer elation. I think that smile says it all, Matt. She's absolutely elated. I spoke to her after the first stage today where she had that massive 51-second lead, and I asked her, you know, is this going to affect the way she attacks the rest of the day? Is she just going to go full gas and just attack every single stage, or is she going to, you know, start riding a little bit more conserved, worry about the bike? But looking at the results, it doesn't look like she held anything back at all. To pull 33 seconds over the current world champ Ellie Hoskin in a place where she's been unbeaten in the past is insane, and congratulations to Ella Connolly. That was a great ride.
So don't forget, you can pick up all of the results, all of the standings at the UCI MTB World Series.com web pages where the full standings are. You can also get the live timing as it happens on there for the final round of the Women's World Cup, which will be taking place on the 14th to the 16th of August in Morbihan in the Haute-Savoie. Our top three here today, though. Nadine Ella Costa, she really put down a phenomenal time on that last stage. Ellie Hoskins above her taking second. She came through clear, but it was Ella Conley who took that away, especially after those issues where you'd heard she got a puncture out on stage 6, where there were issues out on the course, so she had to go off course and come back on. But being able to deal with those is part of mountain biking, and that's what makes enduro, for me, true mountain biking, because it's what we all do. We go out on our bike, we have to fix it whilst we're out there, we have to deal with going off route, we have to deal with going off your run, you have to deal with, you know, and that's whether you're racing your mates out in the local woods or whether it's going out and racing at this World Cup level.
Yeah, so I like to describe enduro as what you do when you're a kid. You know, you go out first thing in the morning, your mum and dad might give you a packed lunch or a couple of pounds to go out and buy yourself some drinks, and you know, that's it. You're out until the street lights come on, Matt. And this is enduro. This is exactly what these riders are doing. They're out all day long. They don't have any outside assistance. If they break the bike, they have to fix it themselves, whether that's derailleurs, tyres, wheels, brake levers breaking. You know, we've seen some absolutely crazy bodge jobs where riders have fixed brake levers with trees and cable ties that they've had stuffed in the bottom brackets, you know. And I don't think you get that in any other form of mountain bike racing. It stands out on its own for me.
It certainly does. Great rise by our top three here today, with Nadine Ella Costa of Italy coming through to take third place. Ellie Hoskins taking away second, the world champion on a course where previously she's not been beaten, but today the day belongs to Ella Conley from Great Britain, taking away the win and extending her lead in the series standings overall. And that gap will open. Melanie Pujan finishing in fourth place overall in the women's competition. As we look at our men's start list, they're about to hit the course. Glenn MacArthur, we saw him with bike issues on the social media feeds. What's the latest news? Because it was pretty major.
Yeah, it was quite major. Glenn, fortunately enough, managed to get his fellow racers. You're not allowed outside assistance. You're only allowed to have help from your fellow racers that are in the race with you. So he had a 12-kilometre liaison back to check-in. And if he didn't make that check-in time, he wasn't allowed to race today. Glenn broke his back wheel. He had one rider carrying his back wheel, one rider carrying his front wheel, one rider carrying him, and then I believe it was Greg Callahan that carried most of his frame, most of that 12 kilometres to get him on the race line today. Yeah, absolutely crazy. And the spirit of enduro is alive and well, that's for sure.
And what was the? Do we know what the fix was that was required?
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, he a couple of kitchen utensils and cable ties, and he's back racing. He had to take a time penalty because of his back wheel being broken, and the riders can't change. So he has took a few minutes penalty due to and then everyone's here for.
So he's out on course as we go. Well, let's just update you at the moment. The fastest overall time at the moment.
Nach der ersten richtigen Gerade auf dem Schotterweg komplett über den Lenker geflogen, weil mir das Vorderrad weggegangen ist. Und dann hier unten habe ich mich wie ein Co-Pilot gefühlt. Also einfach nur noch hinterm Rad gehangen und nicht mehr wirklich gelenkt, sondern sich einfach nur noch leiten lassen vom Trail.
Okay, wir haben nicht zugeschaut, du hast das Rad jetzt geflickt und du übernimmst es wieder Steuer, oder?
Ja, das wäre der Plan. Also jetzt hoffentlich wieder in Pilotensitz und dann angreifen und ein bisschen Zeit zurückholen.
Nice, wir drücken die Daumen.
Danke.
Yeah, so that was Maritz, German rider. Obviously, he's just a quick interview at the bottom of stage one. My German isn't the best, so I've no idea where he was up to, but it seems like he's had a good race so far coming into stage 8.
So we're just let's just update you where the overall is standing at the moment. The time gaps are close between our riders overall. Patrick Luthi, the rider who's leading down at the finish at the moment down here in the Aletsch Arena. Now the last rider down was Jonas Bernet, who came down in 12th place overall. So at the moment, the time gaps are looking like they're only 1 or 2 seconds between most of the riders down there. No real big time gaps until we go out the top riders through the finish. At the moment, we're still talking less than a minute for the top 58 riders at the finish on the stage so far. So we can expect the time gaps to be close. In terms of the overall at the moment, into the finish, Elad Shapanov is the overall leading rider, as you can see on your screen. 47 minutes 13 seconds at the moment. He's good by 4 seconds from Babo, then Bernet behind. At the moment, though, as you can see, carrying lots of speed down here. The drone tracking, scrubbing the speed off, though. Too much speed can be as bad as not enough.
Absolutely, Matt. But just look at the way this bike's just gliding over all these bumps. Glenn with the mechanicals yesterday, it does not seem like it's slowing him down today at all. That bike just dancing around underneath him, full confidence on what it's going to do, and the capabilities that these enduro bikes have nowadays, it's absolutely ridiculous. They're riding downhill grade trails on bikes that they can pedal around all day long and pedal up a liaison for 2 hours on tarmac road.
Well, I was going to say my only mountain bike I have left in even slightly working order at the moment is I've crashed them all too much. Is actually my enduro bike, and it's the best. It's the perfect all-round bike. It forgives all my mistakes out on the trail pretty much. It's the one that's got the capability to do pretty much everything that you want without too much penalty. And when we compare that, for anybody who's watching, maybe who doesn't know the differences, a cross-country bike is designed to do an hour-and-a-half race. It's designed, that's it, and on a very specific course, a downhill bike to do that run. But enduro bikes have to deal with everything, the transitions, the liaisons. You know, you're throwing them in the lift to get to the top sometimes. You're also, of course, then racing them with up as well as downhill sections.
It's a bike that you've got to be comfortable on descending for 6,000 metres across 2 days of racing. And also, some of these races, some of the rounds of the UCI Enduro World Cup are 70 kilometres long. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know any other mountain bike discipline where people are riding on knobbly, aggressive downhill tyres for that kind of length, and also a bike that they can put on the shoulder, carry up to the next stage, ride down. They've got sprints in the middle of the stage. To me, it's like these mountain bikes are like the Swiss Army knife of cycling.
because they can handle that downhill. I mean, in some ways, the nearest is mountain bike marathon, where riders are out all day, but they're not on anything like as technical terrain, certainly not at the pace it's being run off. Now, Bashiri are just coming down into the finish here. Let's see if he can set a faster time. It's not looking like it's going to be too far away at the moment, just making his way, dropping in at the moment. The lights are green. We'll see what time comes as he comes down into the finish, scrubs off the speed on this final drop down into the Aletsch Arena. You drop down right into town here, and at the moment just styles it up into the arena as we see what time he's going to set. MacArthur coming down and in with an 8-second penalty comes through, so he's not going to trouble the overall as we drop in with Luca Fourcade of France, and Fourcade of France just dropping in. Luca is a rider. Is he the throw it all at it kind of rider?
He's quite aggressive. He likes to throw himself into these things, and these French riders are all typically so good on this technical terrain. Riding the Alps mainly, these guys know exactly where to put the tyres on these kind of off-camber, rooty, dusty trails.
So Fourcade just dropping down into the finish here. You can see his stage times and positions as he makes his way down into the finish. Second fastest time here on stage 8. His overall time, though, a penalty for those preceding stages. So he came down in terms of the overall. He's 4 minutes 34 down overall. Top 30 riders dropping down in overall with Pernivka, the next rider coming down for Czechia. So Jakub on to the descent here, this high upper section that the camera doesn't do justice, does it, to how big those rocks are. We're talking, you know, they're coffin-sized stones out there, aren't they?
Yeah, these look like, it's like riding into your kitchen appliances. It's absolutely ridiculous. You've got some microwave size, fridge freezers, dishwashers, ovens. You've got it all out there. And some of them are razor sharp, some of them are quite numb and flat. So the razor sharp ones are lethal for the tyres. And then you've got the more rounded rock, which can easily put a big ding in that rim and lose all your tyre. You lose all your pressure, because a lot of these racers aren't running inner tubes. So it's only the tyre that is holding the air in the wheel.
So the tyre fitting snugly to the rim, as you would see in a car tyre, but with sealant in there just to stop any very small punctures. But you get a big rip from a rock and it's game over. It rips out a sidewall, and then you've got issues because you've got to get that bike down to the finish. And we have seen people stopping and sorting out issues previously. On the last stage, that's not going to be the case, though, is it?
No, whatever issues you have on the last stage, you will do anything to get down. Oh, just watching Iago Garay there, just lily padding across one of the bigger rocks. Absolutely unbelievable bits of riding there. And look at this bike just dancing around. This Cannondale with one of the trickiest paint jobs I've seen. And he's just, oh, he's going for it. He's giving it the beans, that's for sure. Look at, he locks his back wheel up, carries immense pace around that right-hander, which is off camber as well. And as he comes into the finish, let's see if he keeps his feet on. I imagine Iago's quite a tidy rider, and he's showing that now. Look at that, effortless around them last few corners, Matt.
Super neat, which is what you want. It's one of those things, isn't it? You can be really, really flamboyant on the bike and look like you're going fast, but actually you're just losing speed everywhere. But the ability to hop, and as you said, lily pad, to go take off, land, take off again, and basically hop across the train. You miss out all the really bad bits because you're just hitting the smooth sections.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. So when these wheels and tyres are obviously off the ground, that's the smoothest part of this stage, is when your wheels aren't on the floor. But then the only issue is where you land. Obviously, these riders will be going a lot faster now than what they were in practice. As we watch Vid Persak come into the finish on this luminous Aeon Racing machine, popping a manual there for the fans. Stylish rider coming into the finish. You can't miss him. Nice.
Yeah, nice little whip up on. It's a tiny little ramp that into that descent, but they just acknowledges the crowd as we see Moritz Silberhorn, the German rider, going and leaving the gate.
Yeah, so Vid Persak going fastest so far in the overall results, it looks like. He's 2.8 seconds over Elad Shpanov.
Yep,
but
change at the top, but there's a lot faster riders to come, isn't there?
Yeah, these times are going to get bumped down, and it's hard to watch, but some of the riders that are coming down are not going to leave anything on the table. As we just watch Moritz coming in, he's head banging, he's charging through these rock gardens so fast, and he's picking his bike up over all these rocks that he can see, trying to avoid them at all costs as we drop into this final monster section, going through these tight off-camber to, oh, lovely stoppy there, not slowing down at all, just gliding that back wheel round the turns. As we come into the left, same thing again, feet on, carrying amazing speed. Oh, he's gapped into the... Oh, it was nearly all over. Oh, and that's the risk that these riders are... Oh, that is crazy that he gapped off that.
It paid off. He's come through. He's got the fastest overall time coming in, and he goes to the top of the standings by 2.909 of a second there on the run in. You said people are not going to leave anything on the table. That is pulling the tablecloth and taking everything with it as well. That was it's a long way down in the arena from that point.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin your whole day's racing there. That was crazy and super impressive to be that precise and pull up that hard after 2 intense days of racing. I don't know if he's got anything left in his upper body.
And it is a full body workout, isn't it? It's not just your legs, it's not just your lungs, it's your whole upper body, your arms. There's no words to describe how pumped your arms are, your forearms are, your biceps, your shoulders, your triceps. The whole chain are going to be pumped by the time you come down.
Yeah, so that full upper body, it's like doing 300 press-ups over and over again, whilst also trying to steer, navigate, pull your brakes, change gear, and put yourself in the right position on the track. As we watch Irishman Keelan Grant here on that Rottwild, gliding down the track. Last time he was here in Aletsch, he had a massive crash and he was hospitalised for weeks, and it's so good to see him tackling these tracks again and showing them exactly who's boss as he's gliding down the stages here.
Yeah, looking really smooth around these turns. He's just got to make sure he keeps the speed there. 46.52 at the moment. He's still in front. We're going to see if he can hold that. I think he is going to go into our lead. He goes into number 1 at the moment, 7 seconds quicker. So clearly slaying the demons that were inside his head after that crash on the way through. There's no getting back on the horse, it's getting back on the bike. Absolutely good job done there by Keelan Grant of Ireland. As we go drop in, next rider on course is going to be Max Phil of Germany, and 22 seconds up at this stage. He can't afford to lose time though because of who's coming behind.
Yeah, these next riders are up. Max is going to have to pull something seriously out of the bag to jump a couple of positions coming into this final finish. He's sprinting, he's on the pedals. How on earth he's got something left in them legs, I will never know, but look at this. So the intensity coming into these final turns, and then you have to slow down, take a deep breath and try your best to be so precise. Look at the amount that he's moving the bike around here just to get through these final turns.
He comes through, he stops the clock, he's 9 seconds quicker overall, so he will depose Keelan Grant at the top of the standings as he comes to a standstill down in the arena. So at the moment, the top 3, Quentin Laurent, the Frenchman, in 3rd overall, Keelan Grant of Ireland in 2nd, and Max Phil of Germany leading overall. The time to beat overall 46 minutes, 48.026 seconds. That's the fastest time up on the hillside. Ricardo further up at this stage, 10 seconds up on Laurent, but we remember we've had Phil come down into the arena since the top of the slopes, and that is the time that counts.
Ricardo riding really well. He's on that Speed Project team. These guys have been leading the team standings all year long, and the riders are absolutely phenomenal. Look at this showcase that he's putting on here coming into the finish.
But not going through as quick, so 5.548 down on the way through there, and that is not going to be what the result that he wanted as we go up to the top of the hill. Thomas Locke already on the course.
Australian man, Thomas Locke. He's a social media wizard. He's on the YouTube. He's doing everything he can to get himself out there. And this has been a real standout ride for Tom. He's been trying so hard this year to get into this top 30. And it's so good to see the big Australian powering into this final stage. Let's see if he can keep this result and even jump up a few positions going into this final section of the stage.
So Locke on his way down, the clock is ticking. Remember, fastest time overall, that of Max Field. We saw Ricardo come into second place, 5.5 seconds down. What's the clock going to stop at here for Locke as he goes in, down towards the finish? He's going to set the new fastest time. He comes through, Locke, 8.933 seconds quicker overall after all of that racing, after 46 minutes, 48 seconds of timed racing, plus all of those liaisons. It comes down to less than 9 seconds between first and second place at the moment, as we're on course with Klikochka of Czechia. So down into this steep section, just got to keep that momentum, keep it rolling. Momentum is really your friend, isn't it? It's as bad going. We talk about being fast is not good, being too fast is not good, too slow is not good either. That you'll get that stall and then you're hitting everything on the way through.
Yeah, you want your bike to try and flow over all these rocks, and it's easier to... Oh, he's gone for the inside, as we can see by the fans' faces. This is going to be wild. He's held it beautifully. And look at that kid, he's standing out.
Again.
Amazing.
And that's shortest line can often be the fastest he comes through. It's only just quicker though, 0.901 the time there quicker, so only just in front, but it is in front of Locke. So new leader, the hot seat, Wojtek Klikochka, the rider from Czechia, the current fastest time 46 minutes 38 overall.
Oh, I've just got to take a deep breath. This is getting ridiculous. It's so many riders coming through so quickly. It's hard to keep up with who's going where, and everyone is riding so well through this section. Riding it myself, it was so hard to keep my bike exactly where I wanted it. You kind of have to be vague with the steering and let your bike direct you where it wants to go, because if you fight it with your arms, gripping the handlebars really hard, you're basically holding onto a jackhammer down these stages, one that you've got to steer through this insane terrain as we come into them final turns again.
So the inside line fractionally quicker for Klikochka. What are we going to see here from 1A? The time to beat 46.38. He's going to beat that by some margin here as he comes through. 15 seconds, nearly 16 seconds to the good for Manuel 1A of the Netherlands. Just getting quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker, and it's the accumulation of all these things. We're still talking though, we're only talking 16 seconds between first and second at the moment overall after all of the racing. Let's go a little bit further down the course with our Swiss rider.
Oh, look at that. Did you see the angle of the rock garden the drone got there? Past that pad, and this local Swiss native coming around these final turns. Look at that, beautiful in front of his home fans, carrying amazing speed, pumping, and through this finish line. Let's see where he comes out.
So still quicker, the Swiss rider there, nearly 6 seconds quicker.
Amazing. That must be such a good feeling in front of the home fans. There's not many Swiss riders in this top 30, so for him to come through like that must be absolutely unbelievable. As we look at Greg Callahan now out the gate, the Irishman on his Ibis, carrying amazing speed. There we go. See, look, picking up over these rocks. These bikes aren't lightweight, and to be lifting the entire bike over these massive rocks, they're at least 12 inches tall. And he just looks like he's doing it effortlessly. Look at that Irish national champ sleeve as well. Greg coming into this final section, he's going to rip it to bits.
And we know Callahan's good. We know he's got the skills. We know he's got the speed. He's just got to get it all together on the day, doesn't he? And just that little bit of a dab there, just on that right-hand turn. Tries to drive it quickly up to speed, straight the way down, though. Coming in, what time will it be? 46.19, 46.20. The time is ticking away here. He goes slower by 5 seconds. So Callahan is going to drop in. It's going to be a matter of fractions of a second. I think he'll drop into second place as we go onwards. He does. So Callahan in second. Minuti of Switzerland leading. Callahan in second overall. Wane in third overall. At the moment, the time to beat overall, 46 minutes, 16.769 seconds.
That is a lot of racing to have a 5-second gap. 46 minutes of racing and only 5 seconds separating the times, and I think it's only going to get tighter coming in as Mirko Vendemia comes in, the Italian. Absolutely phenomenal. One of the riders that is really light on his bike. He floats over this stuff for fun.
And he certainly floated today on our last stage. 10.811 seconds to the good as he come in now. So as he comes through, he goes into first place, pushing Minuti down to second and Callahan down into third.
Tommaso Calanacci now. This guy had a podium at his home race not so long ago. He'll still be riding that confidence. Tommaso Calanacci loves to just give it full gas in his own words, and I'm absolutely certain that's exactly what he'll be doing on the last stage here today. As this is absolutely crazy. These routes are about 3-4 inches tall, and it's like hitting curbs at the side of the road with these wheels, and these riders are just hitting them absolutely flat out.
So Calanacci looking to improve. He's taken one World Cup podium in his career so far. It's not going to be a podium today, but he should have pushed himself well up through the standings. He's going to go through with the fastest time. He's going to be ahead of his countryman of Vendemia as he comes through. It's going to be 1 and 2. Calanacci and Vendemia for Italy, 6 seconds down. Vendemia at the moment on Calanacci's time as we see our next rider on course, Blacha, already out and away.
So Blaha, absolutely, he's been racing on this circuit for so long now, and these longer stages seem to suit him. He's got a really interesting style. He likes to be really efficient, not too aggressive, and just look at this. Just body position and absolutely phenomenal. He's not moving backwards, he's not moving forwards, his elbows are up, and he's just stood in the middle of his bike. Onto the inside here, he's got his foot out. Beautiful, look at that, no drama at all, made it look so easily, and I can tell you now, that is not an easy bit of track to get your bike through.
So diving down into the arena, he's going to go quicker by 1.527 of a second. He's going to go into first place, deposing the two Italians down. So Blaha, Calanacci, Vendemia, the riders in the top three at the moment, but still faster riders to come. Can he improve on an 11th? His career best at a World Cup so far. We'll have to wait and see as Bottom hits the slopes.
Bottom taking his first ever UCI Enduro World Cup win earlier on this season in Val di Fassa, and he struggled to carry that momentum into these races, but it looks like he's riding really well, really efficient, and just listen to that free hub, just gliding round. These corners are so tight and the dirt's so loose, it's like talcum powder down there, and the riders are just throwing it into these corners as if they're on a perfectly grippy tarmac road.
It's just like, it is like riding on ice at times, isn't it? When it's so dry, it's like you're riding on a slick wet course, isn't it? Because the dust just breaks away. You can see it breaking underneath the riders here as they come down. Those ruts of the berms just forming as he comes in. What's Bottom going to do? He's 12.638 of a second up. Overall, he's going to be the new leader in the house as he sits at the finish here, puts it on the front wheel to finish. Great result by him.
And now one of the most interesting personalities on the circuit. We've got Marius Barret, the Frenchman, absolutely an explosive rider, and we're going to see him lay it all on the line in this last stage. He hits every stage like it's the last and leaves nothing on the track. One of the lighter riders, but he's so powerful. His power to weight must be up there with a track cyclist. Look at him just hopping round. That pink jersey standing out on the drone footage. As he comes into the finish, he's scooting his way around the last few corners, riding that front wheel into the finish. And here he comes then off the double drop and down into the finish line. Let's see what time Marius puts in. Fastest by 7.3 seconds. These times are getting tighter.
He's absolutely smashed it apart there. I mean, great riding. You saw that endo turn, sticking it on the front wheel, just carried. It wasn't a stall. It was just feathered that brake so smoothly. He kept the right amount of momentum whilst flicking the back wheel around. It's such a skill.
Yeah, just trying to ride these turns with 2 wheels on the ground's hard enough, but riding halfway around an off-camber dusty corner on 1 wheel, especially the front one, absolutely crazy technical skills and ability there.
And it's when you were racing, were you practicing those technical skills all the time? Was it just going out and riding, or did you literally have to work on individual parts of technique?
Yeah, absolutely. I always worked on my weaknesses, and luckily for me, I was always good at the technical stuff, so I just had to go to the gym, go on the watt bike, and just get good at pedaling. But look at this, absolute carnage. Look at the size of the roots. The bikes are dancing round, it's going sideways. You've got no idea when this bike's going to kick out. As Tarmo, the Finnish rider, comes through into the finish with that national champ sleeve on. Let's see what time he posts. Fastest again.
9 seconds quicker. It's no surprise they're going quicker and quicker and quicker, but the gaps are staying pretty consistent at the moment. Reinanen now down into the finish. As we see our next rider out on course is going to be Francado, making his way down, getting that power down really fast. What can he do here?
He's a really powerful fella, is Tommaso Francado. He's had some amazing results this year with a podium under his belt, and look at this, just pumping his bike through, getting them pedal strokes in. He's pushing a really tall gear just to get that torque coming out the turn, so you don't just spin that back tyre. It's all just power driving the bike forward. He's got his heels dropped, which is pushing that back wheel into the floor to give him as much grip as possible. And look at that, carrying amazing speed on the off camber, coming into these tight turns. And here we go, Tommaso Francado into the finish. Another fastest time. Crazy. 1.7 seconds the gap now between first and second.
So coming into the finish, Francado takes the fastest time, just under 2 seconds quicker as we move up to Giambi. What can Rafael do out on course? This could be interesting. What has he got left in the tank? It's not been all smooth sailing for him by any stretch of the imagination.
So Giambi had a big crash on stage 2. He won the last UCI Enduro World Cup we had in La Tuile, and now he's riding like he's got nothing to lose. He lost his dropper post, and today he's just been riding like every stage is his last. And here he comes into the final section. Giambi is so good at this technical riding, and look at this, phenomenal. Oh, he's managed to hold it together into the finish there. That was so close to the handrail on that final bit of North Shore. And Giambi going fastest again by 0.6 of a second. He's had some stage wins, and unfortunately that crash on the Blueberry Trail on stage 2 on day 1 ruined his chances for that overall win.
You've got to ride so close to the edge. It's such fine margins. Get it wrong, you're really going to know about it. So the riders down on course, making their way down to the finish here in the Aletsch Arena. It's round 5 of the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series, the Enduro. Evan Wall, the Canadian, out on course, just under 8 seconds up in terms of overall time midway down the course as we catch up with him a little bit nearer towards our finish.
Oh, it looks like he might have a front flat tyre, Matt. This is what we're talking about.
Oy.
This is going to make it so hard for him to get to the finish. Oh, yeah, that's it. Front flat. Oh, no, that is the worst. The back tyre, you can navigate your way down, but the front, that is where all the steering is, all the grip, and that front brake has 70% of the stopping power. So he's only now relying on his back brake, and hopefully that tyre isn't just rotating around the rim. Oh, that is a massive nightmare for Evan Wall, the Canadian. He's been riding so well on that belt drive bike. As we watch JT Fisher now, the Yeti Foxman. He's super powerful, super explosive, and he's brand new to this elite field. He's not been racing in this elite field long. One of the younger riders in the class, and he's been riding like a veteran all season long. A little bit of bad luck throughout this year, but JT definitely one to watch for the future races. Look definitely at that, and there's why.
Yeah. Beautiful. Not had a win yet, but what's he going to do here today? Fisher's going to come through with a 21 second. lead to the good as he comes through ahead of Francado because of the issues further up the hillside. And you can see the problems because that front tyre has gone. This is where it really counts, and it's the little stuff you can get away with. It's coming off the big stuff. Wall is going to come through. You can see he's 1 minute and 10 seconds down, and even on the tarmac, even when you come down onto the asphalt, that's when you've got issues. I'm glad I'm not that front wheel on that descent. That has taken an absolute pounding.
Yeah, how Evan even got down that track. He lost 1 minute and 9 seconds there, so that just shows what is on the line for these top riders now coming down. One puncher and that is it. It's game over. It doesn't matter how much of a lead you've got. This stage is where the race is going to be decided as we watch Elliot Jameson powering through the chicane there and just riding this bike. Oh, look at that. The speed he's carried into the finish, unbelievable. He was third in the World Champs here last year. And look at that. New leader again with that Canadian National Champs sleeve. Elliot will be happy with that one.
Let's put this into perspective. You've got only 7 riders within a minute of Jameson now at the front of this race after what is 44 minutes 58.169 seconds of riding for the fastest riders. Leif Rogers comes in. Leif Rogers with the most to gain here today because he is second overall in the standings coming in to this round. What can he do here today? Elliot, you said he's the man who's expected to do it here today. He'll be absolutely over the moon if he does, but can he get himself his first win here?
I don't think Leif will be concentrating on the win too much as we watch Sławomir Łukasik come into the finish. Not the best day for Slav. He showed some great pace at the start of the day, but I think a couple of issues throughout the stage. He has gone fastest by 2.9 seconds, but I'm not sure if that time will hold as Frenchman Adrian Day is still left to come, then Leif Rogers, and then the final rider down the hill, Ryan Gilchrist, coming later on. As we watch Adrian Day, one of the most technical riders we have on the circuit, just making this final section look absolutely like a walk in the park. Little foot off there, but didn't lose too much time, roosted the fans, and into the finish for Adrian.
Yeah, he's going to go through with that fastest time. Łukasik coming in with a time of 44.55.228 overall. Day's going to come through just that little bit quicker than him, 6.626. So at the moment it's Day, Łukasik and Jameson that, as Elliot said, this is where it really starts to get close. So Rogers up, away, off from the start. This was his start earlier on, just up the hillside. Quick reminder, the riders making the way down, and we're in with Leif Rogers here, 16.990. Yeah, you heard that right. 17 seconds to the good at the midway stage coming down. The final stage of this round. What can he do here today coming down in towards the finish here? Around that right-hand turn, quickly onto the pedals, just that half a pedal stroke just to get that little bit extra drive through.
Here he comes now. He's got his dropper seat post up. He'll slam that down now and into these final turns of the race. After this race, with Alex Rideau not being in the fight for the race this weekend, Leif Rogers could be the overall series leader going into round 6 of the UCI Enduro World Cup. But here he is now into the finish over the last final few drops. Brilliant through the finish for Leif. Goes fastest. Unbelievable.
So Leif Rogers takes the overall lead, punches the air in delight as he comes down into the arena, applauded by the crowd, and he sets the fastest overall time. Ryan Gilchrist, though, this is the man that could depose him. This is the man who could well take it away. The team have been riding well. The Yeti Fox Factory race team have been absolutely nailing this. They've had 1, 2, 3 on stages. They've not got the 1, 2, 3 overall anymore. You can see already taking 3 of the stages. Can he do the same again? The time gap is huge, 30 seconds part way down the slopes as we come to him in towards the finish. Remember, the overall time to beat of Rogers, 44.41, and I think he's going to absolutely smash it out of the ballpark here. Here he comes, the flares are going. He's not going to win it by fractions of a second. He's won it by 21 seconds coming in. Ryan Gilchrist comes down. That is a ride.
Unbelievable from Ryan Gilchrist there. That is his first ever UCI Enduro World Cup win, and he has done it in perfect style. The Yeti Fox team will be absolutely buzzing, and look at that Australian flag flying. The elation for Ryan Gilchrist is phenomenal. Congratulations, Ryan. That was an unbelievable ride. So Ryan is an absolute legend in the mountain bike industry. He's won Pump Track World Championships, he's been king of Crankworks, and now he's got a UCI Enduro World Cup to add to his bank of amazing race wins.
Class is class, and that man has it in bucket loads. Absolute style from the rider from Australia coming down. Gilchrist taking away the win. Rogers is going to go out from here, though, with the overall lead, subject to confirmation that even by my bad maths, that should give him the overall in the series standing. So Gilchrist taking the win, 20.779 seconds from Rogers, 28.264 from Daly. They're going to be the riders on our podium. Don't forget the full results available. Go to www.ucimtbworldseries.com, and on there you'll find all the details of all of the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series, as from enduro to cross country to downhill.
What a race, what a race, and what a pleasure it's been to be able to watch it live on the screen. We don't get this opportunity enough in enduro, and a big shout out to everyone at Aletsch Arena Belwald. That was an I'm sweating in my chair just from watching, and I'm sat in an air-conditioned room. That was crazy. So Ryan's mechanic there, congratulate him, Gilly. The team all put so much effort in. That is Jay, the chef. She's making sure these riders are fueled. And then there's Alex, the other mechanic. What a team, what a race, and what a ride from Ryan Gilchrist. Unbelievable. This one will take a while to set in.
So what makes him, apart from the obviously insane amount of skill that he's got and the insane amount of ability across different bike riding, what makes him so good?
So Ryan, I don't know if anyone knows this, but Ryan is trained by Jared Graves, a mountain bike BMX XC legend.
We are not worthy.
if anyone knows that name, they'll know the amount of experience and knowledge that he can pass on to these younger riders. And Ryan is just that sponge. Everything, he just soaks it in. He trains so hard. I've never seen anyone do as many FTP tests on a turbo trainer or on a ride as Ryan Gilchrist does. And he's got it all. He comes from a BMX background. He's won BMX races. Like I say, he's a previous Pump Track World Champion. He's won an EDR race before. He might have even won the championship. I've not got that stat written down. But this, for him, I think he's won in every discipline he's raced in, and there's not many people at his young age that can say that.
No, incredible riding by him, and you can just see they're still getting the congratulations. No surprises from a rider who absolutely nailed that. He came into this last stage with it his to lose. He didn't just go through instead. He absolutely had that dialed. He's just going to make sure that he's got the bike back in. He's just checking where everything is on the way through. But I tell you something, absolutely superb. And you talked there about doing an FTP test and doing the testing on the bike. Science plays such a big role in this, doesn't it? It really does make the difference, and that's why we're still seeing things improving time after time after time.
Yeah, it's not just the riding that makes a difference. Obviously, we only ever see the riding on the screens and the riding on the Instagram. We never see the blood, sweat and tears that goes into the training and all the time and the life that they sacrifice. Ryan lives in Australia, and he's been in Europe now for probably 2 or 3 months, as we go to Ella Connolly as she's took the win today.
A huge amount of racing. We've been racing for 50 minutes. Had a little mechanical to fix after one of the stages, but the hardest thing is just to keep pushing for that amount of time.
It was like a lot more descending and a lot more race time this time around, like 50 minutes. How is the body feeling now?
The body is so tired. I was really struggling on the last couple of stages. There was a lot of pedaling, so my legs were struggling. My lower back was struggling around all the corners as well. So yeah, I was just trying to hold it together and take it to the finish line.
Huge congrats for another win for you.
Thank you.
Well, great to hear from Ella Conley there. That physical ache, that amount that you put in, when you're in the race, you're pumped full of adrenaline. You know, racing is racing. You're absolutely on. You're in that moment. Afterwards, it's going to be tough. Let's hear from Ryan Gilchrist. Let's see how he's feeling.
Look at that face.
That's my team over there. That's my country over there. Man, I've been doing this for a bit, and to enter the Premier class, take a win, especially in Aletsch Arena, like super legit place to race a bike against people in their prime. Like, I couldn't be more proud. I was doing a bit rough last 2 rounds. Reached out to Mick Hanna, my teammate of years past, and said, Mick, I need a hand, and he gave me some pretty inspirational words of advice, and I took that into the race, and he told me basically ride like Ryan, and I know when Ryan's riding like Ryan, things go well. So really proud. Shout out Yeti, shout out the team, the boys, JT and Slav. Love you guys, and yeah, family, girlfriend at home. Wish you were here.
Awesome. So happy you found Ryan out there. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Well, really interesting to hear. He'd been talking to Mad Mick Hanna to get some tips on what to do. And the answer was be yourself and really ride well. Now, let's look at our overall standings. Leif Rogers takes the overall lead in the standings ahead of Adrian Daly there. You can see in our men's competition. Don't forget all of the standings on www.UCIMountainbikeworldseries.com. Go to Enduro. In terms of the women's standings, Ella Conley extends her lead. It's 170 points now to Pooja, with Hoskin in 3rd place, 470 points behind. And you can see that gap really is starting to open at the top of the standings. Conley, though, with a firm grip as we go into our last round, along with Leif. The last round, when we go onwards from here, we're going in to Morillon in the Haute-Savoie. Is it going to be the case that the riders have to think about not losing it, or do they have to just focus on the moment?
I mean, I've never personally been in that position in the elite class, so it's hard to say. I think depending on the riders, they'll do different things. I think a lot of them are quite sensible and they'll just focus on the race as if it's any other race. However, that's what they say to us on the cameras. That's what they say to me as the presenter. But in the back of their minds, there is definitely some thoughts that's going on behind the scenes, and that will weigh heavy on the shoulders throughout the day. These races are hard enough when you're fighting for a championship, especially for Leif, his first elite championship that he's now leading going into the final race. That is a lot to carry for such a young man coming into the final race of the season.
And he's doing it as a privateer. He's doing it without that team, that same sort of level of support. Although he is supported, it's not the same when you come off those big teams. You can see what it means to the team here of Ryan Gilchrist. Leif's doing it. It's a very different thing, isn't it, when you're not on those big teams?
Yeah, so Ryan and the Yeti team, you know, the riders ride in practice with their mechanics. They've got 2 mechanics between the 3 riders. You know, if they get a puncture while they're out in practice, they get it fixed by the mechanic. They come back after practice day, after race day, they just drop the bikes off at the pits, they go back, they rest, they watch GoPro footage to learn the tracks for the next day, and they don't have to worry about what condition the bike is. And that is such a positive and such a thing for a rider to just not have another thing to worry about. Leif Rogers comes back after the racing. He has to fix his own bike. He's driving around the series in Europe this year in a rented Europe car van. And he's got his bike hung up at the back of his van. You'll see him parked up in the pits, and him and Evan Wall, the 2 Canadian teammates, and they're just wrenching on their own bikes, and they have to fix everything. And that's such a time-consuming thing when they've got so many tracks and so many stages to learn. Taking that time away from the GoPro footage is so detrimental, and the fact that he's doing it on his own is crazy. As we watch Adrian Day drop in to the final stage, just look at the power he's laying down over this rough terrain.
Taking away 3rd place overall as he came in here.
Jambi.
Looking strong. We're just going to keep a check on these riders as they drop down in. Some really strong riding as they come in through from our top 3 riders. Ryan Gilchrist, though, taking away the win. He came in with that big lead. The stage here has been very, very interesting. There's a last stage coming down, quite a short stage that drops down into the arena, but we've seen riders get it wrong. We saw riders with issues. We saw punctures on the front wheel. You know, we saw that tire. It hadn't come off the rim, but it was close. You know, it can make a difference. It's a real amphitheatre that you come down into, because you just literally drop straight down into town, which is so typical of the area.
Yeah, to have this kind of terrain and these kind of tracks meters away from a main road and a main train line is absolutely crazy. Like, we just don't get that anywhere else. And what a town, what a place. From, you know, Aletsch Arena, Belwald, we've got the glacier, we've got this alpine terrain, they've got the bike park up at Belwald. This just provides so many different terrains and stages. As we go into looking at Ryan, absolutely stoked there, holding his bike that's just took him to the lead. I spoke to Ryan earlier on today, and he said that he did really well on stage 1, and I said, how are you feeling, Ryan? And he said, stage 5 wasn't his favourite. He said, but I said, six has got your name on, surely. And he was like, 6, 7 and 8, and I was like, no way. I said, well, and he's gone and he's done it and he's smashed it exactly like he said.
He certainly has. He's absolutely got that dial. The media interviews will begin for the winners, for the riders. It's all part of the day. Just going to go back to something you said a little bit earlier. The time off watching the footage, it's detrimental because to the riders who are having to spanner and mechanic themselves. But it's also that recovery time, isn't it? Because you can't ride all the time. Being a pro isn't just, well, in lots of ways, it's not about the riding. It's about the preparation. It's about that time spanner. It's about recovery time. You know, the time when other riders are there with the compression legs on. You know, they're in the ice baths. That's all time. If you're spending it on the bike, you're losing that vital window of opportunity to get the recovery done right as soon as possible.
Yeah, and another thing to point out, I know just Leif in general, Leif Rogers, he works 3 days a week as a plumber in the off-season, and he's coming in fighting against these full-time factory riders that do nothing but race the bike. Leif isn't the only one. There's a lot of people in the top end of this elite men's and elite women's field, but for them to compete with these factory riders, the Yeti Fox team is such a high-end team. We've seen so many winners and victories come from that team. It's, you know, it doesn't need any introduction. And yeah, for Leif to be competing and beating these teams and racers with way more experience than him, credit to Leif. It's absolutely phenomenal. But Ryan Gilchrist taking his first ever UCI Enduro World Cup win. What a place, and we get to watch it live and commentate on it live. What a treat.
It is indeed a real honour as absolute bike nuts who live, breathe, sleep and dream mountain biking and bike riding. I think there isn't anything better than watching some great riders putting down some great skills on the mountains in a fantastic arena. You could be out here riding in Aletsch, in and around the arena area. Get yourselves out. If you're into riding, it's an amazing place to come and ride your bike, to head out, to head to the Boa Bike Park, to go down the trail and look over. You don't have to go as fast as we've just seen, believe me. It takes the world's best to do that. We will be bringing you our podiums for the Enduro men and women in the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series very shortly, but this is what I always love to see. Really, really interesting. You know, the phone comes out, you know, you're on the phone to people, you're telling them exactly what you've got up to, and when you take that win, you know, we see this, and it's universal in sport. This is, look what I just did. I mean, it's great to share that emotion and what it means to the riders.
We got it done. Especially for Ryan Gilchrist. His family's on the other side of the world, and there they are, look, absolutely stoked for him, and rightly so. This boy's been away from his home with no home comforts for the past God knows how long, and look how stoked he is to just let all them people know that have sacrificed so much for Ryan, and Ryan has sacrificed himself all for this moment.
So the riders just making sure they're ready to go to our podium. We'll be getting the riders up on to stage very shortly for the World Cup, and they'll be making way there. Ryan probably our last to the podium because, of course, the last rider down on the trail, he's had no time to get ready. The champagne is ready down here in the Aletsch Arena in Belwald. It's a really great round, isn't it, to come to as our penultimate round. It really does set things up nicely going forwards. When we look at that last round that's coming up, we've going to be into the middle of August. Potentially it's going to be as hot, if not hotter. We've got heat waves across Europe, you've got fires, you've got storms all going everywhere. You know, the kids are cooling down in the fire pool at the halfway down the slopes there. It's going to be warm. We're going to Morillon in the hopes of, well, is that a course you've ridden before?
I've never personally been to Morillon, but that region of mountains, everyone that's ridden a mountain bike knows it well. You know, it's going to be steep, it's going to be technical, it's going to have everything that the Alps have to offer. And the best thing about Enduro is, you know, we've got between 1 and 8 stages of racing. Morillon will also be a 2-day race, so that's 2 days practice and 2 days of racing. It's going to be physical, and one side of the valley might have, you know, like we do here in Aletsch, we might have rocky, more open trails of, you know, dust and exposure and altitude, and then the other side of the mountain might be in, you know, a bike park like today in Belwald, for example. So the riders have got to be good at everything. They can't have any weaknesses, otherwise these stages will bring them to the surface and they will show what the riders are good and not good at. So you can't have a weakness, Matt. You've just got to give it everything, and if there's anything that you do need to work on, the riders have got 3 weeks now before the next round to focus on that, get back healthy, rest, recover, and come in for that final round in the best condition they can.
And for those riders who've got mechanical issues, maybe got injuries, niggling injuries, whatever it is, this is a chance to reset. Pressing that reset button is such a key skill of a world-class rider, because it's impossible to... No one has a perfect run every year, day in, day out, a perfect ride, a perfect race, and there's always issues for people. You don't get to the top of sport without being able to press the reset button to re-go again, and this is their opportunity to do that in both the women's and in that men's field.
Yeah, so the racers haven't had much time off. I think the most we've had is a week between each round, or maybe even 2 weeks between each round. And you think if you have a crash or an injury, say you hurt your finger or your thumb, that finger and thumb has got to hold your hands onto the handlebars for over 40 minutes of racing. If you are not 100% fit, you've got no chance. You've got absolutely no chance. And I guarantee if you ask most of these riders in the pits this weekend if they've got something that they need to cool down, whether they've got a bruise, whether they've got a broken bone, whether they've got, you know, whether they're just mentally and physically, you know, tired, they'll all have something that they need to rest. They'll all have something that they need to work on. No rider is completely 100% right the way through the season, and that's what's so important about these breaks, just to keep the riders, get them rest and recovered, and come into this final round absolutely lit, because everything's on the line, and that is the last thing that stands between them and the World Championship.
And to get your name into the record books as being that World Cup winner, to be the rider who takes away the World Cup, running into the World Championships that we're going to be seeing. I mean, it does make a difference, doesn't it? You're coming in on that confidence, coming off a season's win. We started racing in May, last weekend in May. We're going to finish the World Cup in the middle of August. You've got consistency. You go to the World Champs, you've got to produce a one-off, but with the confidence that you've got from taking a World Cup win, that has got to be worth a lot in terms of mindset.
Yeah, you know, if you've proven at rounds throughout the year that you can win the overall UCI Enduro World Cup, you know, you've proved time and time again that you are the person to beat. And that confidence going into a one-off race where you don't have to worry about a World Championship, you don't have this weight on your shoulders, you know, it's just all out. The person who wins that race will be the UCI World Champion. And, you know, we've got one more race of the World Cup. who'll come out on top, I have no idea, but I'm so excited to tune in 3 weeks' time in Montreal and see who's going to be our winner in 2026. It's going to be a new winner, I think. You know, the chances of having Sławomir Łukasz win the overall in the men's, Ella Connolly storming out front in the women's, but Melanie Pujan, she isn't too far away. Anything can happen. This is the problem.
Anything can happen, and that is the great thing about mountain biking today. It happened today because Nadine Elacosta of Italy takes the 3rd place overall. Up on to the stage she goes. Well, a rider who's not been beaten here previously. She took those rainbow bands as world champion here in the Aletsch Arena. She goes on stage once again today, 2nd place.
All the way from Great Britain, Ella Connolly!
Race winner of round 5 of the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike Enduro World Series. It is Ella Connolly. She takes to the centre stage, taking that race win in style, holding and defending the lead, and she'll take away the series lead from the Aletsch Arena here in Belweld. She'll be heading off with that series lead. Connolly, your race winner.
So much talent stood on that podium there, Matt. Like, these girls are all fighting throughout the season, and it's great to see them all on the podium. Ellie Hoskins' first podium of the season, and what a place to do it in, a place where, like we said, she's been undefeated in the past. Here we go then, and champagne time.
This is who can get the cork off fastest, who's going to be taking the most of the champagne shower. Champagne going all over the riders. They'll be drinking some as well, I'm sure, on the way out there. So your top 3 here today in the Women's World Cup. Nadine Elacosta taking away 3rd place. Ellie Hoskins, the world champion, taking 2nd in the World Cup here at the Aletsch Arena. And Ella Connolly taking away the race win, increasing her lead in the overall standings as we move on to our last round, round 6, which will be coming your way on the 14th to the 16th of August. So let's bring our series leader on to the stage. She takes away the series lead. It's hers to lose now, but as we said, it could be anybody's, but a good points haul should see her secure, shouldn't it?
It should do. Like we've seen, though, anything can happen. She's had a puncture today, and it's only because she worked so hard on day 1 and at the start of day 2 that she managed to maintain that lead. So if the racing was a little bit closer and she didn't have the runs that she did, then it could have been a completely different race. But yeah, Ella's absolutely phenomenal today. She's been a force to reckon with and deserves that win. She's rode her absolute socks off. As we come into the men's elite podium. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, buddy. I was just going to say, yeah, Ella's one of those riders who's not going to be fazed by where she is. She seems so cool, calm and collected. I bumped into her at the Malvern's Festival, and when she was down there a couple of years ago, and she was just like the same Ella Connolly that I knew when she was, you know, riding in the under-16. She's just super calm about everything, but yeah, you put her on the track, she's absolutely brutal. Let's move across to the men's race. So it is a 3rd place here today at the World Cup for Adrien Dely of France. He makes his way on to the stage, the Speed Project rider.
2nd place for Canada, Leif Rogers.
Well, what a day for Leif Rogers of Canada, the privateer making his way up on to that 2nd step.
Your winner for the first time in his life, representing Yeti Factory Race Team, Ryan Gilchrist.
So Ryan Gilchrist, the race winner after 8 amazing stages here at the Aletsch Arena, all centered around this amazing venue to race and to ride at. Ryan Gilchrist of the Yeti Fox Factory Race Team takes away the race victory. He takes top step on that podium. 2nd place going to Leif Rogers, and 3rd place to Adrien Dely. But it's the Australian who takes away the race win here, the trophy, and takes away maximum points. the overall series leader, as we leave here, stood to his right, our left, and Deddy with that third place. Now, time for that champagne to get sprayed, and let's see who is going to. So let's look at this. Ryan Gilchrist having to wait here just for everyone else. He's got his thumb on the bottle there, ready to shake.
Ryan Gilchrist blasting himself though with the champagne. You don't see that very often. Champagne in the eyes is not pleasant at the best of times, but Ryan is on another level.
Well, the goggles come off. I've seen plenty of riders put their sunnies and put the goggles on for the podiums for the champagne spray in the eye. He's thrown his out to the crowd. You can see your top three here today after 2 days of racing in that men's race. Adrian Daly in third, Leif Rogers in second, and Ryan Gilchrist in.
Like he could be a force to be reckoned with, but also Adrian Daly in third. That's his second podium in a row for Adrian. So another man, he's on that Santa Cruz this year. It's his first season on that bike, on that platform, and again, another gain in momentum throughout the year. And then you've got the Leif Rogers. He's just been absolutely phenomenal, and here he is now to claim his overall leaders trophy going into the final race of the season. It must be so emotional. There must be all sorts running through the back of his mind.
So Leif Rogers claims the lead of the series overall. 1 round to go, 1 round in which he needs to defend. Leif Rogers gets the arm aloft there, and we will see what he can do when the family that is Enduro moves home across to Montreal in the Haute-Savoie on the 14th and 16th of August. What a great set of races we've had across. Elliot, you get to go to these and to watch and to talk to the riders. Your take home from here today?
Well, my take home from today is that anything is possible. Ella Connolly is on an absolute charge, and she is a force to be reckoned with going into this final stage. I don't know if anyone's got it in them to stop her, but we will find out at the final round in Montreal. In the elite men's field, it's wide open. We've had so many different race winners this year, and I'll be honest, I've no idea who's going to win. You know, we've got Ryan Gilchrist with that newfound confidence on that new bike, carrying momentum into the final round. Leif's going to have the weight of the overall championship on his shoulders. He has got a bit of a buffer. Is that going to affect his performance on the day? I don't know. And then we've got the speed project with Jambi and Dei, who are always there or thereabouts. So it's wide open for me, Matt. I've no idea who's going to come out on top, but I'm so excited to see who's going to win at that final round.
And don't forget, you can join Elliot. He'll be bringing you all of the coverage on social media. You can download the official app for the Whoop UCI Mountain Bike World Series. You can do that on the App Store or on Google Play. Follow on social media. It is at UCI_MTB World Series on Instagram. Make sure you catch up with all of the race action. An absolute pleasure putting words to the action here today with Elliot. Great to see proper mountain biking in action.
What a pleasure.